You ever think your boss is unfair? Like, hey, maybe Karen from accounting didn't deserve that passive-aggressive email about her microwave salmon. Well, congratulations. You would have absolutely died, literally, in most of human history. Because back then, punishments weren't about justice. They were about making sure you and everyone around you knew. Mess up and you'll wish you'd never been born. Or grown skin. Or had organs. Let's time travel back through humanity's finest hits of sadistic creativity. A long, painful mixtape of horror. Think of it as a guided tour through hell, curated by people who were very creative, extremely angry, and absolutely not okay. First stop, ancient Greece, the land of democracy, philosophy, and a horrifying mechanical cow named the Brazen Bull. It looked like a life-size bronze bull statue until you realized it doubled as a death oven. Victims were stuffed inside, a fire was lit beneath it, and they were roasted alive. But because the ancient Greeks just had to show off, the bull was designed with pipes that turned the screams into bull-like moos. That's right, your last moments on Earth were an ancient sound effect gag. Even worse? The inventor of the Brazen Bull was the first one roasted in it. Talk about a product demo gone wrong. If you thought that was bad, let's head east to the Assyrians. These folks loved punishment almost as much as they loved documenting it. Their favorite? Flaying. As in peeling your skin off while you're still alive like you're a grape with a bad attitude. They do it to traitors, rebels, or anyone who maybe looked at the king funny. And then, just to rub it in, they'd hang the skin on the city walls like it was some sort of medieval arts and crafts project. Moving over to ancient Persia, we get scaphism, a punishment that sounds like a fancy spa treatment until you realize it involves bugs. Lots of bugs. Here's how it worked. The victim was trapped between two canoes, force-fed a diet of milk and honey until they had explosive diarrhea, then smeared in more honey and left in a swamp. What followed was an all-you-can-eat insect buffet, with you as the main course. Insects would crawl into every possible orifice. Every single one. And since the person was still alive for days, they got to feel all of it. Digestion, via nature. Bon appétit. Not to be outdone, Europe joined the punishment Olympics with the breaking wheel. Imagine tying someone to a giant wooden wheel and then smashing their limbs with a metal club, one at a time, until their body looked like a jigsaw puzzle nobody wanted to finish. Bonus points if they were kept alive afterward by weaving their broken body through the spokes and leaving them on display. Medieval marketing at its finest. Steal a loaf. Become modern art. But let's not leave out the psychological horror of sawing in half. Not the magician version. Oh no, this one involved hanging someone upside down and sawing them lengthwise, from the groin down. The blood rush to the head kept them conscious for as long as possible, which, frankly, is the kind of overachieving no one asked for. This delightful treat was seen across various medieval societies, and apparently nobody stopped and said, hey, maybe this is a bit much. Next up, rat torture. Here's the setup. A bucket. A live rat, and your bare abdomen. The bucket gets strapped to your stomach, a fire is lit on the other end, and the rat does what rats do best. Panic. With nowhere else to go, it digs into your body. Yep, you become a fleshy escape tunnel. This one's been used by the Romans, the Chinese, and probably that one kid from school who microwaved frogs. You know the type. Then we have crocodile shears. The name is misleadingly cute. These were iron tongs, shaped like crocodile jaws, heated until they were glowing, and used to rip off body parts. Mostly genitals. Mostly for men. Usually reserved for traitors, would-be assassins, or people who got way too handsy with royalty. Nothing says, don't mess with the monarchy, like flaming iron dental work for your crotch. Now, let's fly to Imperial China, where poetic names covered horrifying truths. Lingqi, or Death by 1,000 Cuts, sounds like an emotional breakup, but was very much a literal situation. Victims were restrained and slowly sliced apart, piece by piece, over hours. Maybe a finger here, a slice of chest there, a nice symmetrical cheek removal to really pull the look together. Executioners were trained to keep the person alive as long as possible, not because they were sadists, though they absolutely were, but because the whole point was prolonged suffering and public shame. The body was often paraded after death, missing enough parts to qualify as a jigsaw puzzle. And because Europe couldn't let Asia have all the fun, let's revisit another local invention, drawing and quartering. This punishment was England's way of telling you, you messed up royally. First, you'd be hanged until almost dead, then disemboweled while still breathing. Just for spice, your intestines might be burned in front of you. Then you'd be beheaded, chopped into 4 parts, and the pieces displayed around the country. It's like a horrific game of postal delivery, but instead of letters, it's your kneecaps. We can't forget about boiling. Used in medieval Europe and parts of Asia, the condemned were either dunked into boiling oil, water, or lead, slowly, like some monstrous fondue. Sometimes they'd be lowered in feet first, to prolong the pain, because clearly someone decided that quick and merciful were concepts for wimps. Oh, and if you were a woman accused of witchcraft, congratulations, your death would be an event. Burning at the stake was the go-to method. Accusations were often based on the flimsiest of evidence, like owning a cat or having a weird mole. Once accused, the logic was airtight. If you drowned, you were innocent. Oops. If you floated, you were a witch and got to burn alive in front of your neighbors while someone probably roasted a marshmallow nearby. And then there's keel hauling, the Dutch Navy's charming tradition. A sailor would be tied with ropes and dragged under the keel of a ship, which sounds bad until you remember the bottom of a ship is covered in barnacles, sharp, shell-like barnacles. So you weren't just drowning, you were also being shredded like coleslaw. In India, there was a particularly cruel punishment used under certain rulers where elephants were trained to crush, dismember, or torture prisoners. They could be ordered to smash skulls with precision or slowly tear off limbs. Because apparently, nothing says justice like weaponized wildlife. Let's also give an honorable mention to impalement. It's exactly what it sounds like. A sharp pole inserted into the body, often, well, you know where. And gravity did the rest. Victims could survive for hours or even days. Vlad the Impaler, real guy, made this his whole personality. Thousands of bodies impaled and left on display. A literal forest of corpses. No wonder he inspired Dracula. Feeling squeamish? That's probably a good sign. It means you're not a 14th century executioner. Honestly, reading all this, you start to wonder how humanity survived its own appetite for pain. People really said, what if instead of just, a fine or some jail time, we make Barry regret existing for the next 12 hours? So next time you're stuck in traffic or get yelled at for using your boss's mug, just remember. At least you're not being tenderized by a wheel or turning into an all-you-can-eat swamp snack for bugs. Modern life may be stressful, but at least your worst punishment is probably just paying taxes. And that's bad enough. Like, comment, and subscribe. Because if you don't, I'm bringing back the brazen bull.